Hello everyone. This is the second part of our SriRudram videos that we started. In the last week we discussed about the fundamental concepts of SriRudram, where it stands in Vedas and few other fundamental concepts. So in this part we will try to pick first verse in the first Anuvaka of Namakam, and we'll try to understand the inner meaning. But before we delve into that, I just want to have few words regarding the first video. In the first video, when I recorded that, I noticed after I uploaded that the audio quality was not good, and I truly apologize for that. From this video onwards, going forward, I'll make sure the audio quality is good. I'll check that before I upload it, the video. And thanks to whoever provided me the honest feedback regarding the audio quality, and I truly appreciate that. So let us start. So in this part, what we will do is we will pick the first Anuvaka. Like we discussed last time, Namakam has 11 Anuvakas and Chamakam has 11 Anuvakas. Anuvakas are nothing but sections in English, if you want to call it. And each Anuvaka has certain number of verses. We in Sanskrit it's called ruks actually. Those are in English, those are verses. So our objective is to go through each verse and try to understand the inner meaning. But before that, let us recap what we discussed in the last video, and we had to do a little bit deep dive on some of the concepts actually. So what we did last time was we picked three key terms that those are the most important terms that are used extensively in Namakam. Those are Ghora, Aghora, Shivam. Okay, essentially Ghoram, Aghoram, Shivam. So what we discussed, Ghora or Ghoram means dukkha or pain or suffering or sorrow or sadness or adversity, whatever we want to call it. Aghora is Sukha or Sukham, which is nothing but happiness, pleasure, success, prosperity, all that comes under Aghora. Shivam is auspiciousness. So those are the three key terms we discussed. So we need to understand few more basics related to that. So for that, let us get into few other concepts of our Vedas basically, right? So if you see, there are three schools of thought, philosophical schools of thought we can call. So those are Advaita, Visishtadvaita and Dvaita. Those are the main schools of thought. There are other schools of thought as well. Advaita can be referred to as non-dualistic school of thought. It was provided to us by Adi Shankaracharya. And Visishtadvaita is referred to as qualified non-dualism. It was provided to us by Ramanujacharya. And Dvaita is dualistic school of thought. It was provided to us by Madhvacharya. So if you see, all these three schools of thought are built upon three key entities. Okay, we need to understand what that does. Those are Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. So if you see, all these three philosophers, whatever the schools of thought they provided to us, all those are based on these three entities. That's why Ramanujacharya calls these as Tattvatrayam basically. Okay, so we need to understand a little bit about this and how these are tied to Ghora. So let us understand what is Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, right? Jiva is nothing but a living soul basically. We can call as Jivatma. Like for example, I am a Jiva, you are a Jiva. Every person can consider themselves as Jiva basically, right? And what is Jagat? Jagat is the universe around us. Okay, the universe can be, it comprises of sentient beings like us, basically all humans, and insentient beings. Right? Insentient beings is like mountains, trees, rivers, this marker, everything is insentient being. And then in sentient beings also, all these other animals, insects, all are included. Okay, so essentially what we are saying is Jiva is like a individual sentient being. Okay, and Jagat comprises of both sentient and insentient. So essentially what we are saying is, if I consider myself as Jiva, then my spouse, my kids, my family, friends, colleagues, relatives, whoever, strangers, all of them are part of Jagat, including all these insentient beings, like whatever around in this universe. And same thing, if any of you consider yourself as Jiva, so that is Jiva and Jagat. Ishvara is who is the Supreme Lord, or highest source, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, that is Ishvara. So all the three schools of thought are built upon this, but we are not going to delve into these three schools of thought. Okay, and like I said in my last video, our objective is not to show one school of thought as superior and the other schools of thought as inferior. Definitely not our objective. Okay, our objective is to try to understand the inner meaning of Rudra. Okay, see, if you see in our Sanatana Dharma, there is something called as Adhikari Veda. Okay, they say every spiritual seeker's need is different, right? So the spiritual seekers can pick the karma path or upasana path or jnana path. Okay, so karma path is somebody may be very much interested in a ritualistic path, somebody may be interested in worshipping, basically extreme worship and all that. Somebody may be interested in doing self-inquiry and trying to understand the self and do all that. That is jnana path. So everybody has their own path, and for that we have different schools of thought explained, and that's why even Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, whatever the path we choose, it could be karma path, ritualistic path, it could be upasana path, which is worship path, and or jnana path, which is knowledge path, and whatever the school of thought we believe in, the objective should be to realize God. So that is our objective. So now let us get back, right? So we understood Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Now how are these tied to this Ghora? We need to understand. So if you see every Jiva, like if you consider yourself as a Jiva, every person goes through this Ghora. Like we discussed, every minute there will be Ghora or Ghora. Okay? So who's giving that Ghora? That we need to understand. Jagat is giving, in fact. Because if you see, any time we get Ghora, it is because of the universe around us. It could be a sentient being giving us. That could be our family giving us some type of Ghora or Ghora. It could be friends, it could be colleagues, it could be relatives, and it could be some stranger. Sometimes they may do something that may cause either Ghora or Ghora. Okay, not only that, and insentient also. Insentient is like nature, right? But basically, Jagat is nothing but nature, actually, right? So sometimes it may rain when we do not need rain. Sometimes it may be very hot and we expect it to be pleasant weather. All these Ghoras are Aghoras. Now again, if you see, not only that, for Jiva also, the mind, we discussed last time, that inner organ, right? Antahkarana, mind, memory, intellect and ego. Those will create Ghoras as well. Okay? All these are given by who? In fact, Ishvara is giving these through Jagat. Okay, essentially the way we can see that is, Ishvara is kind of wearing a mask of nature or Prakriti or Jagat, whatever you want to call it. Through that, Ishvara is giving Ghora. Some people may be interpreting it as Ghora, some people may be interpreting it as Aghora. Okay, see, the Ghora, in fact, those are relative actually. Because good example is, like for example, a person may be planning to host an event at his house. It could be some party, some puja, some type of event. And let us say that event is during the daytime, and that person planned everything in the outdoor, and his wish would be not to rain on that day, right? Because if it rains, he will see that as Ghora. Because he does not want rain to spoil the whole plan and cause inconvenience to his guests and things like that, right? So if it rains, he's going to see it as Ghora. And in the same neighborhood, there can be another person who may be an avid gardener, or he's interested in gardening and all that, he put bunch of plants and built a garden in the front yard, and he may be expecting, hey, I want rain, I want it's been high temperature last few days, I want rain. His wish is to rain on that day. So if it rains, for him it is aghora. See, what Ishvara is doing is, he is using this jagat, doing something, and that is creating an experience as ghora for someone, as aghora for somebody else. So if we see, the ghora, aghora are the forms of Ishvara actually. Okay, so that is why last time we discussed that mantra or sloka that we chant before Namakam, Ghore, Bhyo, Ghora, Ghora. So all we are saying is, as part of that is, hey, Ishvara, you are Ghora, you are Aghora, you are everything, you are Shiva. See, in fact, if we transcend and look any Ghora or Aghora as a Shivam, that is a true state, but it is not easy to attain that state. In fact, that state is called as Dvandva Atita Sthiti. Okay, Dvandva Atita Sthiti. That means that the state is referred to as the state beyond dualities, the state of equanimity. It is called, but it's not easy. I mean, we can explain it so easily. We can write it. We can listen to it. We can read it. Yes, it is very easy, but if we try to do it from practical point of view, it is very difficult, because human tendency is, whenever we see any ghora, we always go into that kind of a panic mode or sadness mode, or we feel sorrow, we will suffer and all that. That is a human tendency. But the crux of Namakam is to transcend from that, to see that, hey, this ghora and aghora are just experiences. And last time we discussed, Ishvara is giving them because of our past karmas, and we discussed about the prarabdha karma also. And Ishvara is not showing any partiality. Ishvara is not showing any favoritism. Ishvara is not giving any preferential treatment to someone. Okay, oh, I like this person, let me give all aghoras to that person. I dislike. No, he's not doing that. He is just set some rules and guidelines, and he is following that niyati, the order that he has set up. Whoever is following it, they are experiencing those basically for their actions. Okay, so that is kind of relation between Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, and how those are related to Ghora, Aghora, and Shiva. Okay, so in fact, when we see Ishvara, when we refer to Ishvara, so the other thing we need to understand is, there are two types of worships actually. Okay, one is Sagunopasana, and the other one is Nirgunopasana. So Sagunopasana is whenever we give a form to Ishvara and we give certain attributes, that is Sagunopasana. Nirgunopasana is if we try to view God as formless, attributeless, that is Nirgunopasana. The reason why I am trying to explain these two is when we start with the first Anuvaka, we will start describing Ishvara with certain form, holding the weapons and having mighty arms and things like that. So essentially what we do is we try to personify God, because we have this human form, we personify God in that form, and we try to give more attributes and all that too. That is nothing but Sagunopasana. The crux of Namakam is to transcend that as well, because when we chant Namakam, if we understand the inner meaning of all Anuvakas, we should be able to see that Ishvara is everywhere. He does not have a specific form because he is everywhere. So what form can we give him? So the whole crux is to go towards Nirgunopasana basically. So that is our objective. Our objective in the sense, like when we chant Namakam is giving that, and we should march towards that. So Another few couple of concepts is like last time we discussed that Namaha means na maha, right? Na is not, me, maha is me, mine. That we discussed. Basically, essentially, we discussed that when we say that we are surrendering our ego, okay, and we are doing without any sense of doership. Basically, that means it is called as, in Sanskrit, it is called as kartrutva rahita buddhi. That means if we do any karma, if we have that feeling that I am doing it, it is mine, it is because of me and all that, that we have to surrender. Basically, that is called as giving up the sense of doership. Okay, so namaha means we are surrendering, right? So and another way to look at is namaskara, right? So we need to understand what namaskara is. Namaskara is, we all know in Sanatana Dharma, namaskara is we bow our head, and then we pray to God whenever we go to temple, whenever we are in a prayer room and things like that. So what are we doing? We are showing the utmost respect and obedience in front of the Lord, right? So what exactly the inner meaning is, namaskara will automatically come when we give up our ahankara and mamakara. Ahankara and mamakara are nothing but arrogance is ahankara. Mamakara is possessiveness or attachments. See, when we say attachments or possessiveness is mamakara actually. So attachments or possessiveness is not just towards the family, but towards anything. The possessiveness or attachment can be towards money, towards fame, or towards a lot of things, power and all that. So the minute we give up or surrender this ahankara and mamakara, namaskara will automatically come. That is the inner meaning behind it. When we say we are doing namaskara, okay. So, and another thing we need to understand is, when we do namakam, before namakam, there is a process that we do which is called as nyasam. Actually, you must have heard. Okay, anganyasam, karanyasam, lagunyasam, mahanyasam, and all that, right? So nyasa, the meaning of nyasa means purification. Okay, so what we are trying to do is, we are trying to purify our body, because the whole inner meaning behind that is, Rudra is inside us. We have to cleanse our body physically, all the parts of our body, to make sure we are like Rudra when we perform that yajna. It could be Abhisheka or some type of yajna or whatever, okay, to Rudra basically. So that is one way to look at it. The other way to look at is, see, if we see, nyasa is cleansing our ahankara and mamakara as well, actually. Because if you see what we have, the brilliance, the power, the energy, the knowledge, the spark inside us. Because if you see in subsequent anuvakas, we will see every person has some kind of spark or some kind of talent inside them, and that is nothing but Rudra actually, right? So that brilliance, that power, that knowledge, that jnana is called as consciousness. Okay, in Sanskrit it is called as Sat, Asti. In Telugu it is called as Iruka. In Hindi it is called Chetana, Chetan I think, and Chaitanyam, consciousness, all that, right? That is nothing but Rudra actually inside us. Okay, but what happens is, a good analogy is, if you take live coal, right? Like if you see in the initially, if you put fire on coal, you will see the fire first. After that, you will see the coal, but there will be a thin layer of or film of ash around that coal. It will look in a white color. Once you blow the ash off, you will see the actual live coal. Okay, we are like that actually, internally actually. Okay, internally we are that pure consciousness, we can call it, that Rudra, but we have a thin layer of ash on us, which is nothing but arrogance, ignorance, possessiveness, all that. Okay, so we have to come out of that ignorance. Sorry, ignorance is nothing but avidya, we call it, and surrender, give up that arrogance, give up that possessiveness. Then that nyasam is nothing but purification, surrendering. Physically, yes, we will chant all these mantras, we will do Anganyasa, Karanyasa, Lagunyasa, Mahanyasa, all this elaborate Mahanyasa. But internally, we have to blow off that layer of arrogance and possessiveness. That is the internal meaning of Nyasam actually, purification. So, the next one what we need to discuss is each Anuvaka and hours, right? So, let us start with the first Anuvaka. In the first Anuvaka, it says, Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya Namaste Rudramanyava Utota Ishave Namaha Namaste Astu Dhanvane Bahubhyam Utate Namaha. That is the first verse. So, let us understand that. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. So, salutations, Namo means Bhagavate. Okay, let us understand what Bhagavan means. Bhagaha is a Sanskrit word, and that is Bhagavan is derived from that Sanskrit word. So that is nothing but, the meaning is nothing but a person who possesses certain qualities, right? That person can be referred to as Bhagavan. Okay, what are those qualities? We can call in Sanskrit there is a sloka also, Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, all those. Okay, we are not going to go through that sloka, but a person who has these 6 qualities in abundance, okay, these 6 opulences, that person can be referred to as Bhagavan. Okay, what are those? So, Aishwaryasya, which is wealth. Viryasya, strength. Aishwaryasya, Viryasya, Yasasaha, that is fame. And the other 2 are beauty and knowledge, jnana. And the last one is very important, which is renunciation. Okay, so only a person can be referred to as Bhagavan if that person has all these 6 qualities in abundance. Okay, see, all of us, jivas, we can call it as human beings, we all possess part of these qualities. Okay, and this is the very difficult one, renunciation. So we refer to Bhagavan as Bhagavan because he has all these 6 qualities in abundance. Okay, so that is why we refer to him as Bhagavan. So first one is Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, right? Rudra, why do we keep referring or using Rudra? Rudra, there are several meanings to it. We'll quickly refer to one. Rudra means the one who makes us cry, the one who makes us stop crying. Okay, which is nothing but the one who is giving us ghoras. Okay, so in fact he's not making us literally on a purpose. He's not doing that. Like we discussed, it's all because of our past actions. Okay, he is orchestrating everything based on our prarabdha karma, and we experience these ghoras and aghoras. Okay, that is pretty straightforward. Okay, he does not have any what do you call partiality. In Sanskrit there are 2 words, Vaishamyam, Naigrunyam. Okay, Lord do not possess those 2 qualities, Vaishamyam and Naigrunyam. Vaishamya is showing partiality. He will not show partiality towards anybody. Naigrunyam is lack of compassion. he is compassionate. I mean, he is not deliberately trying to give ghoras or aghoras. Okay. And now let us go to the first verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya Namaste Astu Dhanvane Bahubhya Mutate Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya Yatesh. Okay. So the second verse is in the second line of the first verse is, we are referring to Lord's anger actually. Okay. So the reason why we are referring to Lord's anger is, whenever the human tendency is, whenever we have ghora, we always feel that Lord is giving us punishment and He is in a ferocious form. I mean, that is general human tendency, right? So here what we are doing is, in the first verse, first we are kind of surrendering to God, saying that, hey, you are the ultimate superpower, right? You have all these qualities, and salutations to your anger. Okay. And then salutations to your, basically what the way we are interpreting Ishvara is, he is standing there, he is holding a bow, he has a bunch of arrows, he has a quiver behind his back, and he is trying to release arrows on us. Okay. Those arrows are nothing but ghoras and aghoras. Okay. That is, we will have to visualize like that. Okay. So first what we are doing, we are giving salutations to his anger. We are kind of seeking pardon, asking him, hey, show your grace. Okay. And then we are giving salutations to his arrow. Okay. And then the next, in the third line, what we do is, and we are giving salutations to his bow. Okay. Because we have arrow, okay, and we have bow, and we have Ishvara holding this bow. Okay. So what we are doing is, we are looking at this arrow because that is the arrow coming towards us in the form of ghora or agora, and then it is coming through this bow, and Ishvara is holding this. Okay. So what we are, in the first verse, what we are doing is, we are giving our salutations to all these basically. If we see what are these, basically the arrow is nothing but the experience basically. Okay. So whatever the ghoras and aghoras we are getting, when we get aghora, which is like a happy moment, this arrow is nothing but a arrow made with flowers with good fragrance, and it doesn't hurt us basically. Okay. That is the type of arrow when we get aghora. And when we get ghora, we see this arrow as an arrow that is made with iron, and it is very sharp, and it can pierce into our skin and make a flesh wound. Okay, that is how we look at these arrows. And this bow is nothing but the Jagat actually. Okay, the nature, we can call it Prakriti. Okay, and his hands are nothing but the laws of nature. Right. So that is how we are looking at this first verse actually. Okay. All we are doing is, we are telling Ishvara, we are surrendering to you, we are giving up our arrogance and possessiveness. Okay. And you are the super power, and you are the supreme Lord, and you have all these qualities. We call you as Bhagavan. And then you, salutations to you, you are holding whatever you are holding, that arrow you are trying to release, that bow you are holding, and your mighty hands holding that bow. Salutations to you, please pardon us. Okay, that is what we are seeking. But actually, if you see, the real meaning is, we are seeking, or we should say, we are requesting Lord that, hey, I am going to dissolve all my arrogance, pride or possessiveness, and I will come out of this ignorance. Okay, that is what we are referring to. That is the inner meaning basically. So I think, I don't know if we reach 30 minutes. I don't want to keep it too long. So what we will do is, we will stop at this point, and we will continue from the next video. So essentially what we did, we discussed about again Ghora and Shivam, and how these are related to Jiva Jagat Ishvara, and we understood what Jivas are, and what Jagat and Ishvara, and then we discussed what are the qualities of Bhagavan, and what are the what is the significance of this arrow, bow, and mighty hands. And in the next video, we will pick the second verse, and I would say from the next video we will go a bit faster because I feel that we covered most of the concepts. But while discussing more and more anuvakas and verses, if we have to learn some new concepts, we will stop and we will discuss that before we move on to the next verse. Okay? Thank you very much.